and co-defendants. Thug, along with 5 other co-defendants accused of violating Georgia's Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act, you know it as RICO. The rapper also accused of participation in a criminal street gang allegedly known as Young Slime Life, or YSL for short. Prosecutors say Young Thug was a co-founder of Young Slime Life, which they say is associated with the National Bloods gang. The defense says, oh, come on now, YSL is nothing more than the name of the rapper's record label. Now, court has been following some testimony surrounding the death of Donovan Thomas. This occurred back in 2015, shot to death then. Now, last week, Detective Darren Smith was on the stand. He was dispatched to the scene back then and revealing photos of the barbershop and a vehicle that was shot up were introduced into evidence. Yesterday, we heard testimony from a former general manager at Hertz car rental. You think you know everything about renting a car at Hertz? Oh, no. This guy said that the car Young Thug rented that day was believed to be used the same day Thomas was killed. This is the direct examination, followed by the cross. Here we go.
For the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you please circle if you see a Q50 Infinity on the screen?
This.
Can you describe the color that you can see this Q50 Infinity?
So yeah, this one is silver.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a Q50.
And can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury if you see a date in the bottom left-hand corner of this screen?
Yes, January 10th, 2015.
And did Hertz Rental Car Atlanta Airport, based on the records that have been admitted into evidence, rent a Q50 Infinity 2014 with the sunroof around or about the time that this Q50 Infinity appears on this screen?
Yes.
And to whom did Hertz Infinity rent a Q50 Infinity 2014 with the sunroof around or about the date associated at the bottom of the screen?
So yeah, this would have been a Jeffery Williams rental.
No further questions, John.
Jeffery Williams.
Tell me from the photographs that you're looking at right there, who's driving that Infinity on that date, January 10th, 2015?
Can't answer that.
You can't tell, can you?
No.
There's no way that you can look at that photograph and tell anyone here that Jeffery Williams or anyone else is driving that vehicle at that moment, can you?
No.
I'm telling you, I learned so much about renting cars. It's mind-boggling. Okay, let's take a look now at a lighter moment in court. This was yesterday during the defense attorney Adams' line of questioning to Iris Singleton. Watch.
Back in 2015, did you know Jeffery Williams?
No.
Did you ever met him?
Personally?
Yeah.
No. Wait, hold on. Can I go back?
Sure.
I know who the rap name is. I didn't know Jeffery Williams, though, no. By that name. I knew Young Thug, yes.
Okay. When you say you knew who that person, who that entity was?
Yes.
You never met him personally?
No. Okay. Lifestyle had just dropped. Everybody knew that song.
Banger. And you liked it, right?
Objection.
Withdrawn.
Guarantee you this, too. If you're working at Hertz, the last thing you expect is to be appearing in a RICO trial against a bunch of alleged criminals. I'll tell you that. That was kind of the highlight of his day. I'm sure he's not filling out the forms. Anyway, Young Thug's defense attorney, Brian Steele, has implied that Lil Woody was driving the Infinity that night of the shooting. He is expected to testify today. They've had a lot of pre-testimony hearings to find out what could and couldn't be talked about because he's got 1 or 2 convictions that are likely to come in. So let's talk about this. Bob Mott is here. Katherine Lizardo is here. And so this case is such a mess. You know, that's the easiest way to talk about it. It's been going on now. I think we're past 100 days now. Maybe it just feels like it. Now we're focusing on a different crime, and that's kind of the thrust of the prosecution's case. We don't know exactly which one we should have gotten him on, and we didn't. Now we're getting it all under this umbrella of RICO. So, Bob, here we have a key witness coming up that may take the fifth. We don't know what's going to happen, but he's alleged to be the wheelman in 2015 when somebody was killed by, again, allegedly the defendant, Mr. Thug. What do you think?
It's tricky. He's a tricky witness for the prosecution because, like you're talking about, because of his background, and you don't know what he's going to do when he gets on the stand. So these RICO cases are incredibly difficult to prosecute because you have so many defendants, you have so many defense attorneys that are sitting at their tables, and they just take forever. Like the way that this trial's going, like it could challenge the McMartin preschool abuse case, which I think took 3 years. This case is so slow moving. Because it's so difficult, because you have so many moving parts, and because it's so hard to prove. I still sit here and wonder, what the prosecution was thinking in bringing it, because it's such an interesting defense in the sense that, look, this guy's just running his record label, and this is their brand. This is the brand, and everything that you're saying is just, has nothing to do with our guy, and it's loose connections, and ultimately that testimony tomorrow, I don't know if it's going to move the needle at all.
Yeah. Fonnie Willis, obviously the DA there, has these RICO cases going in a number of different venues, and she's got some challenges of her own right now. So this is probably not top of mind for her. So, Katherine, we're going to open up the law and crime classroom here and put the Professor Lizardo, to help us. This guy, which Lil is he Ann again? I forgot. Lil Woody. There you go. He's got some use immunity, right? So what's the difference? Use immunity, transactional immunity. What is all that about?
Wow, you're really putting me on the spot here. Well, I know that he has immunity here, and we will see testimony where he's saying that he was actually trying to take the fifth, and the judge was trying to figure out what was going on because he has this immunity with the state, and the judge was trying to explain to him, you have immunity and you're required to testify here in court because in exchange of what was written in your immunity, and the state filed for immunity, and the judge granted that immunity, and it's limited immunity because there's certain testimony that are outside the scope of the immunity. Little Woody or Kenneth Copeland has about, I don't know, a long rap sheet, probably 11 criminal pleas, conviction, and don't quote me on that number, but it's a long rap sheet. So they don't want all of that coming in, and whether or not that's related to YSL in this RICO case, they have to streamline all of that. That's why we're having this pre-trial hearing before his testimony.
Yeah, and we saw him sitting there in the witness box, to the stand, but not to testify. It was part of the hearing outside the presence of the jury. So we're going to get into that immunity issue. Here's a tip. If somebody gives you immunity, make sure it's complete blanket immunity, because otherwise it gets a little dicey. Let's take this break. We will come back right after this with more out of Atlanta.